Good morning, folks. Welcome to Just Omer. Again, I want to thank right from the beginning our hosts here, the Pemmy Baker TV folks. I really appreciate them letting me make this presentation. Try to make it every week, and it's really, I think, important for me to get this information out to the public here in Grafton County. So I am Omer Ahern Jr. I am a Grafton County Commissioner from District 3, but I represent all of the people in Grafton County, New Hampshire. I serve with two other commissioners. The chairperson of the board, Commissioner Wendy Piper. She serves the three towns in District 1, Hanover, the City of Lebanon, and Enfield. And she's the chairman. And then we serve with Commissioner Linda Lauer from Bath, New Hampshire, and she serves the towns in northern and western Grafton County. And she is the vice chairman of the Grafton County Board of Commissioners. And District 3 the district that I am elected from, serves the towns in eastern and southern Grafton County. And I serve as the clerk. And one of the unique duties of being the clerk of the Grafton County Commissioners is every week I get to sign off on every single invoice that Grafton County pays out. So every invoice that goes out, I get to see that invoice and to see how much that invoice is for. And that's about a 2.5 hour task for me after the county commissioner meeting. And some of the things that I find, kind of interesting are the amount of money that we pay out each week for traveling nurses for the nursing home, what we pay out monthly to Woodsville Water and Light for water and electricity, and what we pay out for food to the Department of Corrections. So it's very enlightening being the clerk of the Board of Commissioners. So the Grafton County Board of Commissioners are responsible by state statute for the operation of the Grafton County home, the nursing home, the Department of Corrections, which has the House of Correction and the county jail. And we are the last county in New Hampshire to still have a working, active farm operation. We have an outstanding dairy farm, and during the summer, spring, summer, and fall, we have vegetable fields. Ranging from tomatoes and cucumbers and radishes and summer squash, lots of winter squash, lots of potatoes, lots of corn, string beans, and everything in between that we feed into the Department of Corrections. And we do feed some of that produce that we produce there into the nursing home for the nursing home residents. We're trying to do more of that through the Farm Doc program, the Farm Department of Corrections program, which all three commissioners approved back in March of this year. And this is something that the farm manager, Grant Nelson, and the Department of Corrections Superintendent, Tom Elliott, are working on. And they're also consulting with the nursing home administrator, Craig Labor, and with the UNH Cooperative Extension specialist folks, Mary Choate Saucier, the food safety specialist, and Heather Bryant, who is the vegetable specialist, and they're both working out of the Grafton County Administration Building. So we're very lucky to have Heather and Mary working with us on this. Part of the plan is to provide all of the dairy products to the Department of Corrections from our own dairy cows on site, and also to provide all of the beef and pork to the Department of Corrections to feed into the inmates there. Part of that reason is because the Department of Corrections budget to feed just the inmates. That's called it's the meals line in the Department of Corrections budget. Is in the vicinity, at least for the last few years, of almost, if not over, $200,000 of what we purchase, and that's taking into account that the county farm does feed vegetables into the Department of Corrections, and so this is what's troubling, where we have a farm right on site that produces vegetables and milk products. We can produce butter and cheese and yogurt and drinking milk right there on site. But we're going to need to have some changes made to the state statutes to allow Grafton County to do today what it did up until the early 1970s. When the rules and regulations at the state and federal level were modified. So we're kind of working on that under the Farm Department of Corrections program, FarmDoc. So we met, the commissioners met yesterday, the 16th of November, and the first item on the agenda was to meet with the High Sheriff of Grafton County, Jeff Stiegler, and he gave us his monthly report. His monthly report includes civil service of process, arrests, transportation of inmates from the House of Correction to the different courts that they may have to appear in. And one of the things you'll probably, you've been hearing about on the news the last, year and a half is the challenge of labor and employees and COVID. So one of the things that the High Sheriff Stiegler, talked with the commissioners about yesterday, because the county commissioners basically oversee the sheriff's budget. We don't tell the sheriff what he does for law enforcement purposes, and and how to conduct the necessary business and law enforcement needs of his office, but he does need to come and talk with us about financial issues and the compensation for the deputies and the staff that work in the county sheriff's department. So he was talking with us about some challenges that he's having because of COVID and related things. So we were spent a lot of time with him, talking with him about those challenges and what he is doing to meet those challenges and make sure that his office continues to run at optimum levels and providing all of the civil service that needs to be done and all of the other things that are involved with a county sheriff's department. And again, Grafton County is a large county. We have a large land area, not as large as Coos County, but so he may have to have a deputy up in Littleton in the morning, and that same deputy may have to go down to Bridgewater in the afternoon. And so there's a lot of mileage that goes on the sheriff's cars and the deputies' cars. So that's another issue that we are constantly working with. And now with the rise in gasoline prices, it's even more of a challenge. So we appreciate the good work that Sheriff Stiegler does in his office and the outstanding work of his deputies and staff people. His office works with cybercrime and cybersecurity, and he's got some very outstanding deputies and officers there in the sheriff's department. So we thank them for their service. The second item on the agenda was the report from Mr. Jim Oakes, who is a veteran. he is the maintenance supervisor. And Mr. Oakes, every month that he makes a report, he gives us a tremendous written report. And basically, the maintenance department is responsible for, the overall operations of every building on the county complex. That county complex encompasses 25 acres of land. That's where the county courthouse is, where Superior Court trials are held, where District Court, Circuit Court trials are held, where the probation, state probation and parole department is located, where the dispatch services are located, where much of the county attorney's office is located. That's just in the courthouse alone. The building is owned by the county, but we lease out a big portion of that county courthouse to the state of New Hampshire for its court and probation services. Of course, there is the Department of Corrections building that came into operation in, I believe, 2011, and that is a one-level facility, but I believe there are 6 pods and administrative offices and conference rooms and rooms where inmates in the House of Correction can meet with their attorneys, and a very large kitchen, stainless steel, modern kitchen, where we're hoping that a lot of the meals and the food under the Farm Doc program can be processed in this modern stainless steel kitchen there at the Department of Corrections. A lot of storage room there, freezer space, and so a lot of the produce and other things that we hope to feed into the inmates at the Department of Corrections can be stored, freezer space and other storage space, dry storage space there. Of course, we've got the administration building, which is from the early mid 1900s. We have the nursing home, 135-bed nursing home that has a lot of technology that needs to be looked after constantly by the maintenance department and Jim Oakes and his outstanding staff of maintenance folks, plumbers, electricians, just an amazing group of people that work with the maintenance department. Then we have the outbuildings, the farm buildings, the dairy barn, the hay barns, the maintenance garage, and just a whole bunch of things. And a lot of the discussion yesterday with the maintenance department was discussing all of the challenges that abound when you're dealing with electronic things, mechanical things, and maintaining those things. And it's just, the cost is very distressing because, and I'm not a computer person. I am not a computer person, but when we have lighting and we have air conditioning, air processing equipment, and the manufacturer goes out of business, or the manufacturer does not produce the parts to repair all of this equipment, that means we got to go out and buy new equipment, and that costs money. It's not cheap, and ultimately, folks, where the money is going to come from to pay for all of this technology, unfortunately, is from the taxpayers. Because the county is a governmental entity, it is not eligible for a lot of the grant programs. Yes, we did get a ARPA, the American Rescue Plan funds earlier this year. I believe it was $17,458,000 that the federal government sent to Grafton County in response to any issues, any losses financially that we had during the pandemic and the lockdown of COVID. But that's for very limited purposes that are related to COVID. And so we're trying to, improve some of the infrastructure there at Grafton County, and part of that infrastructure that we're trying to improve is broadband within the county. And again, these are all things that we discussed with Mr. Oakes, the maintenance supervisor. And again, his reports also deal with all of the generators that we have to have at the complex, because our complex there, the county complex, has to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, 366 days a year. And because we've got residents in the nursing home that need to be cared for, all during that time period. We've got inmates in the House of Correction that are there all during that time period. And so we have to make sure that if something happens with the electricity, that we have generators there that are ready to go on instantly when the power goes on. And a lot of those generators are fueled by different types of fossil fuels, and you have to make sure that those generators are working all the time. And they're mechanical items, and sometimes they don't work. That's why we test them, and if they don't work when we test them, the county maintenance department has got to do what needs to be done to make sure they're ready to go when the need arises. So Mr. Oakes and his team does a fantastic job, but sometimes it's just, I hate to use the word, but sometimes it's a nightmare. And but again, we're fortunate to have the people that we do have working at Grafton County, because they do an outstanding job making sure that the residents in the nursing home, the residents at the Department of Corrections, and all of our employees are going to be safe in the environment up there. They're always looking into the future and making sure and being prepared. One of the items that came to our meeting yesterday, we had a presentation from a Mr. Van Hout from he lives up in northern Grafton County. And one of his recent fortes has been dealing with development of solar energy for small towns up in northern Grafton County. And he came to the commissioners' meeting looking for some money from the county commissioners as a grant to help him complete and help them up there in northern Grafton County complete some of their solar energy programs for some of the schools and some of the municipalities up there. Unfortunately, right now, the ARPA money, we have to be careful how we spend that. Some of that money has already been designated by the executive committee of the county delegation. And again, the county delegation are those people who are elected to the New Hampshire legislature, the general court, not to the New Hampshire Senate, but just to the New Hampshire legislature from Grafton County. They make up the delegation, the county delegation. And then there's an executive committee of the county delegation. And they are making the final decision on how the ARPA money is to be spent. The county commissioners are reviewing applications and reviewing requests for items that are allowed under the ARPA program, and we make a recommendation either for or against, or we pass it on to the delegation for them to make a decision. And whether the executive committee agrees with the commissioners on whether this amount of money should be spent or not, or whether it shouldn't be spent, that's up to the delegation. And so far, on some of the programs that the commissioners have presented to the delegation has been in agreement with all of our decisions. And they did make a couple, and they did make some decisions on the items that were tabled by the county commissioners. So Mr. Van Houten requested some money, and the commissioners just, at that time, yesterday, we're not in a position to be spending any more taxpayer dollars at this time. It may be that the solar energy program that he's describing for some of the municipalities up there in northern Grafton County may indeed be eligible for ARPA funds, and we're going to be looking into that because that's one of the requests of the members of our delegation, county delegation, is to maybe have some of that county money. But again, the money was given to Grafton County to try to meet the needs of Grafton County as a result of the COVID and the lockdown and all the issues that we've had there. So we will be getting back to him on that. But one of the energy issues that the county commissioners have already been trying to address is this issue of slightly used nuclear fuel. Because back in it was in June of this year, the Grafton County Commissioners had a presentation from Mr. Stephen Curtis, MHP, who was a 38-year resident of Nevada and was with a close association to the spent nuclear fuel issue. And he was a 15-year career nuclear engineer with the Department of Energy in Nevada and also with the federal government. So there is a program that the state of New Hampshire can request. All that has to happen is the governor of the state of New Hampshire just needs to send a letter to the federal government saying that they want to get involved with using or to get involved with the spent or the surplus or slightly used nuclear fuel, to build small generators like are on some of our nuclear powered submarines and surface vessels in our U.S. Navy. So I, in working with Mr. Curtis, have presented a proposal and a letter to the governor's office, Governor Sununu's office here in New Hampshire. And the letter basically just says that the state of New Hampshire would consent to having, and hold on to your seat, folks, right now in Washington, D.C., the federal government is sitting on $42 billion, that's with a B, $billion of New Hampshire electric ratepayers' money that is waiting to come back to the state of New Hampshire to work with this surplus or slightly used nuclear fuel. It's really not all spent. It's not waste either. It's slightly used nuclear fuel. And I'm looking at it for Grafton County so that we can provide our own electricity, we can provide electric heat, and it will be so much more cost effective than having to buy oil, heating oil, or propane, and buying electricity. And this slightly used nuclear fuel is very, very safe. And if you're interested in finding out more about this slightly used nuclear fuel, you can go to Mr. Curtis's website, one of his websites, called wastetoenergynow.org. wastetoenergynow.org. And if you give me a call at my office in Wentworth, 603-764-6024, I can certainly talk with you a little bit more about that and give you that website again. Again, wastetoenergynow.org. And again, there is a letter that has been sent, and a proposed letter sent to the New Hampshire Department of Energy for the governor to look at, consider, and sign. And all it says is that the governor agrees that the state of New Hampshire should be involved with developing these small nuclear energy producers here within the state of New Hampshire. It will not only provide us with cheap energy, it will also provide jobs, good paying jobs, because there'll be new businesses that will be setting up in order to manufacture these little small nuclear energy units. And it's just, in my mind, it's a win-win-win situation for the people of Grafton County, all of the people of the state of New Hampshire. And, admittedly, the power companies and the fuel companies are not at all enamored with the idea of nuclear energy coming into New Hampshire. But in the long run, and as you start to pay more at the gas pumps, and you start to pay more for your fuel oil and your propane and other gas, this idea of the slightly used nuclear fuel, and the state of Nevada, which has, is storing all of this slightly used nuclear fuel, which some people call waste, but it's not waste. The state of Nevada is willing to pay people to take that slightly used nuclear fuel from their facilities there in Nevada. But we already have slightly used nuclear fuel already here in New Hampshire down at Seabrook Station. There's still slightly used nuclear fuel down there. Again, some people will call that waste, but it's not. It's slightly, and the lifespan of this slightly used nuclear fuel, what little parts of it we would use at a time, is anywhere from 200 to 400 years. 200 to 400 years. And the solar panels that Mr. Van Houten was talking about with the commissioners, they're guaranteed for a 25 to 30 year lifespan before they have to be replaced. Although he did say that there are some solar installations that have been running for 40 years. Okay, but there's a big difference between 200 years of a, for lack of a better word, a piece of slightly used nuclear fuel, and then 40 years, best case scenario for the solar panels. So, a lot of stuff going on at Grafton County. There's still that the broadband infrastructure, and if you folks contact the town manager for the town of Bristol, Nick Coates, he can give you a good update on what's going on with the county broadband committee as the county is working to build out a backbone of the broadband for use by the communities, and all that has to happen once that backbone is put in place is for the communities themselves to provide the lines and the to the individual homes there. So, thank you for listening to me. I hope I didn't talk too fast. This slightly used nuclear fuel is a great idea. Again, I am Omer Ahern Jr. I'm the Grafton County District 3 County Commissioner. My email address is omer.ahern.jr@gmail.com. My phone number is 603-764-6024. Again, I want to thank the folks here at PBTV for allowing me this opportunity. And if I don't see you next week, please have a very safe, enjoyable Thanksgiving. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the granite state of New Hampshire. Thank you. Take care.